Stanley Johnson, that's Boris Johnson's father, has this week been accused by two women of sexual assault. The first allegation was from Tory MP Caroline Nokes. Said she was touched inappropriately by Stanley Johnson when she was a prospective parliamentary candidate at the 2003 Tory party conference. Nokes told Sky the following: "I now regard it as a duty, an absolute duty, to call out wherever you see it. Be the noisy, aggravating, aggressive woman in the room, because if I'm not prepared to do that, then my daughter won't be prepared to do that. You do get to a point where you go, up with this, I will not put." Very powerful statement there. The second allegation was from New Statesman journalist Alva Ray. "Stanley Johnson also groped me at a party at Conservative conference in 2019. I am grateful to Caroline Nokes for calling out something that none of us should have to put up with, not least the Prime Minister's father." What you've seen here are two statements by clearly incredibly brave women. These are also allegations which are, years apart, which, if they are true, suggests a very concerning habit on the part of Boris Johnson's father, who was a politician in his own right. He was an MEP. These are allegations. We cannot confirm either way. I would tend to take them incredibly seriously. What we can say for certain is that Stanley Johnson's response to these allegations was disgusting. It was despicable. Here's what he told Sky when they put these allegations to him. "I have no recollection of Caroline Nokes at all. But there you go. And no reply. Hey ho, good luck, and thanks." So this is someone who has said she was inappropriately touched by Stanley Johnson in 2003, sexual assault essentially. She's also given a very powerful statement about, the reason she is saying this now is because she wants to set an example to other women that you should not suffer in silence. It's important that we speak out about these things so that we change the culture. And in response, Stanley Johnson says, "Hey ho, thanks, good luck."
It's sickening. I actually don't doubt that Stanley Johnson doesn't have any recollection of Caroline Nokes, because that's how sexual assault and sexual harassment often works, especially when it's done in the context of a powerful man and a less powerful woman, and also in a kind of workplace context. Normally, the harasser doesn't really care who the person is, and considers it a kind of non-event that they probably forget before the night even ends. Whereas for the victim, it's harrowingly unforgettable, and that's how this often goes, and that's why it's such an engine of inequality in our society, because it creates this heavy, sometimes unbearable burden on a certain part of the population, disproportionately women, that the others just don't have to bear. And that's why, we talk about sexual harassment and sexual assault as an inequality issue as much as anything else. But as you've spoken about, these women have nothing to gain by publicly speaking out about this. Why would you randomly wake up one day and decide to lie about something that Stanley Johnson did? There's nothing really to gain here. And so for him to feel emboldened, which I'm sure he does because of the way that that Rachel Johnson behaves, the way that his own son behaves as the Prime Minister of this country, he feels completely emboldened to do this to reply in this way, because he feels shrouded by kind of cotton wool, and we've allowed him in a sense to behave that way. But it also sheds a light, I think, on how this story often unfolds, where you have one person who has been holding this in and holding this, swallowing it, and that causes all sorts of knock-on effects that you might not even know is related to that original thing that happened to you. And the other person just walking through their life and not even remembering it. It's really, really chilling, actually, to see it play out in such black and white terms.
For legal reasons, should emphasize Stanley Johnson has denied this. We can't say either way whether or not this happened, just that these allegations should be taken incredibly seriously.
Yeah, because I think that the point obviously, and as you said, this is all alleged, and I think that's why we should it's important to talk about this in that abstract way. And what does this tell us about this broader thing? Because I think if you feel like if you hear that someone has been harmed by someone has been harmed, it's the lack of curiosity and the lack of any kind of respect for the fact that someone feels that way that is so, and the quickness with which you can dismiss it rather than taking it seriously and having some process that we can go through in order to find out what happened and in order to redress any harms that have happened. And I think this is the problem with the way that we talk about sexual assault and the cavalier way that so many people treat it. It was like in his response, you just sense that he didn't really get the gravity of what was being articulated. And whether or not he remembers or believes it to be true, or whether or not anything happened, it's still the lack of respect and the lack of tact that is just so appalling, really, to watch, and is so endemic, so representative of the things that I was talking about.